תודה רבה גם על ההרצאה המרתקת, גם על הדיון המרתק. ולי יש שאלה בסוף, אם יהיה לנו זמן. יש למישהו שאלות? אז אני יכולה לשאול. לא, קודם האורחים.
נעמי, שלום.
אוקיי.
שאלה?
עידו, כן.
עידו גל. I'll speak in English for the benefit of everybody there. Ido Gal, University of Haifa. Two comments which are also questions to some extent. First of all, I did not see, Pat, in your talk any reference to very simple, unassuming things such as attitudes and beliefs that affect performance in school. Take, for example, math anxiety, computer anxiety, any kind of anxiety, and so on. So I think that when we talk about assessment of non-cognitive or semi-cognitive variables, it would be useful to expand it to include these kinds of things that are simple and are not at the level of personality traits and so on, but can be powerful factors in the school environment. And with this come another question, which is how do we assess these kinds of things in an educational environment, not for the purpose of predicting future behavior, but for the purpose of identifying students who seem to not be functioning very well because they have problems adjusting, who don't seem to have the right kinds of personality makeup or whatever. What kinds of tools can we give teachers and schools to deal with these kinds of things? Because teachers very often, and we heard earlier from other speakers and from the presidents of these various colleges, that it is very important to pay attention to non-cognitive processes, and it's part of the educational mission. Yet, how do we provide measurement instruments in this regard, which is a simple yet very important context?
Want to use mine? Okay, so anyway, this is a great comment. Absolutely, attitudes, beliefs, and perceived norms is very powerful influences on behavior. And so if I didn't highlight that, it's just because I only had 60 minutes. But in fact, one of the frameworks that we use for behavior chain is the Isaac Eisen framework on, it's called the theory of planned behavior, TPB. So the idea is that the way to affect behavioral change is to change intentions, and the determinants of intentions are attitudes, perceived norms, and perceived control. And so those are very powerful. In fact, that is a recipe for changing these kinds of very powerful attributes in schools. The way you change behavior is that you convince students that it's good. Choose your behavior. Stop smoking. A lot of this is used in behavioral therapy, behavioral cessation, stop smoking, lose weight, and so forth. But it can certainly be applied in education as well. So the behavior would be to do your homework, and so the attitude change has to do with convincing students that homework is a good thing, or at least the things that result as a result of doing homework is a good thing. Both ways of changing attitudes. And changing control means that you change the circumstances where student thinks that they can't do homework because they have to work or they're too busy or something, is to change that around. And then the third variable is norms. And so the most powerful determinant of human behavior is norms. And so you move your student from the school where no one does homework to the school where everyone does homework, and that'll cause an instant change in behavior. And we have lots of evidence that that's true. So if I overlooked attitudes, that was just, in fact, we have attitudes pretty much in the Success Navigator assessment, there are a number of attitude questions in there. It's true that in the big five we don't so much. We do have some test anxiety, but not too much in the way of attitudes. And that's actually something we're trying to think about now with respect to the question of measurement. If we want to look at attitudes in high stakes setting, how do we do that? Because the idea of a forced choice between what's more true of you, I work hard versus I work well with others, that's very natural in personality. But what's more true of you, I suppose, you know, I like doing my homework versus I like eating ice cream or something. I don't know if that's, it might be amenable to a forced choice format, but we're just in the middle of trying to think through that one. But very good comment. You're right. That's an important part of this.
השאלה שלי, זה מבורך לקחת בחשבון גורמים שהם לא קוגניטיביים, אבל השאלה אם בזה שאנחנו מכניסים אותם למבחנים אנחנו לא עושים להם עוול גדול, והדוגמה ליצירתיות מאוד מאוד הטרידה אותי. זאת אומרת, הדוגמה ליצירתיות מה-GRE אומרת שעכשיו יצירתיות של מועמד לקולג' זה כמה רעיונות יש לו בשתי דקות. עכשיו, כל מי שמלמד יודע שלא התלמיד שיש לו שאלה הראשון הוא זה עם השאלה הכי אינטליגנטית או הכי יצירתית באופן מהותי. זה פשוט הכי מהיר. ואז השאלה אם אנחנו לא לוקחים בעצם תכונות שהן חשובות, אהודות, רצויות, אבל מהכורח של לבחון אותן בצורה סטנדרטית, מאבדים את מה שאנחנו באמת היינו רוצים לבדוק.
Yeah, that's so the Jack Carroll did this review he published in 1993, which Mashi reminded me of yesterday. And in that review, he basically took the 470 data sets in existence at the time, and he reanalyzed those to identify the most significant factors in human cognition. And he ended up with a hierarchical analysis where at the top was a general cognitive factor, and at the second level were 8 second stratum factors, he called them. And one of those was something called general retrieval or idea production. And there are several idea production tasks at the third stratum or the first stratum, I can't remember which way it's numbered. But they were, ideational fluency and figure fluency and all kinds of fluency tasks. And creativity was one of those, and that's the one that has the best. So based on the research finding, it seems to be the case that this is the best measure, the best predictor of creative outputs. Now, is it creativity? No. Creativity is writing, it's a maybe or maybe not. Painting something that you hang in some art museum. That's what's creativity. But but this is the best we know from kind of a research basis on what idea production is an important aspect of generating ideas. The idea is that one of the things they say about creative people is that they're people who generate a lot of bad ideas, but they just keep generating. And every once in a while, one of them is good, and so they're creative. But this whole fluency idea is very, very important. So, did you have something? Did you want to answer that?
השאלה שלי קשורה גם לשאלה של עידו וגם לשאלה שלך, נעמי. השאלה שלי אני אומרת משהו כזה, אנחנו מאוד נזהרים למשל מכל הבחינה הפסיכומטרית שלנו, בחינת המיון לאוניברסיטאות, וגם ה-GRE וגם ה-SAT ששינה את השמות שלו הרבה פעמים, המילה אינטליגנציה, intelligence, לא מופיעה שם. ופה אנחנו מדברים על social intelligence ועל ה-5-factor model, והשאלה היא אם חלק מהגורמים שם לא שיעורי בית, כן? לא להופיע בזמן לשיעור, לא התנהגויות מהסוג הזה. אבל כן סוג של יצירתיות. האם הם לא מסוג המשתנים שאנחנו לא רוצים להשתמש בהם למיון מילא, גם לא הייתי נוקטת בשם המפורש, אבל בבית ספר, כי קשה להשפיע על חלק מהמשתנים. למשל, אם אנחנו אומרים שאקסטרוברטיות זה משתנה חשוב, והבן אדם נולד אינטרוברטי, אבל הוא לא יכול להיות אקסטרוברטי, אז מה? ואנחנו נמנעים מזה, זה דומה במידה מסוימת, אני חושבת, למה שאנחנו גם מתייחסים אליו כאל רקע כלכלי. אנחנו לא שואלים את הבן אדם מאיפה ההורים שלו באו ומה הסטטוס הסוציו-אקונומי שלו. למרות שזה יש להם כושר ניבוי, בדיוק כמו למבחנים שלנו, בערך אותו דבר. אז האם אין כאן סכנה להרבה משתנים מהסוג הזה, רק בגלל שיש להם באמת ערך ניבויי, והם באמת משפיעים גם על רמת הביצוע בכל מקצוע שהוא.
Well, one of the big changes I think we've experienced in the field in the last 10 years is the idea that we used to think that personality traits were fixed at birth, if not in the womb, if not at conception. And we now believe they change. And if you...
Some.
Yeah, well, for example, Brent Roberts shows that on the kinds of normal personality tests that we take, we experience changes as big as 1 standard deviation over the lifespan on factors such as conscientiousness. He also showed in a paper not yet published, but he did an analysis of pre-post intervention, clinical intervention, and he found half a standard deviation changes within about 20 weeks on things like emotional stability, neuroticism. That's a large change. And so I think that the feeling now is that these factors are much more malleable than we used to think they were. PISA scores are probably as fixed as these kinds of personality traits, and yet we don't have an objection to using PISA scores to compare countries and to compare school systems. And in fact, this is so true now that that's why OECD, I think, is interested in looking at development and growth in personality, which is an idea that 10 years ago would have sounded absurd. But today we think that that actually makes sense. And, okay.
Thank you again very, very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.